Committee on Audit come to order. Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Commissioner Colleen has requested an excuse. Commissioner Dobb. Here. Commissioner Clark Coleman. Commissioner Kenizik. Chair Basham.
Here.
You have a quorum present.
Item,
B, Chair's remarks.
have none for this meeting.
C, approval of the September 7th, 2022 meeting minutes.
Get a motion.
Move to approve.
Support. Been moved and supported. All those in favor? All those opposed? Ayes have it. Next item, Madam Clerk.
D, unfinished business. There is none listed. Item 1, under new business, forwarding a copy of the Office of Wayne County Treasurer review of the 2019 Stadium Excise Tax Independent Agreed Upon Procedures Report.
Yeah, I'd like to at this time welcome our Auditor General, her staff, and her guest. And Ms. Corr, could you please proceed?
We also have a PowerPoint presentation. I believe you have it. Okay. I'll have staff introduce themselves. First, I'm Marcy Corr, the Auditor General. If staff can introduce themselves.
Mike Sosnowski, Audit Manager.
Sheila Warren, Supervisory Auditor.
Erica Jones, Principal Senior Auditor.
And we also have representatives from the Treasurer's Office, if they can introduce themselves.
Welcome. Please proceed, Ms. Corr.
What you have before you today is the Office of the Wayne County Treasurer, the review of the 2019 Stadium Excise Tax. This is an independent agreed upon procedures report between our office and the treasurers. And we'll turn it over to Mike Sinowski and he'll begin the presentation.
Morning. As Marcy stated, the objective and purpose of this engagement is that we have a memorandum of understanding with the Treasurer's Office to perform agreed upon procedures to assess taxpayer compliance with the stadium excise tax, also known as the tourist tax laws. This engagement covered the period of calendar year 2019. The excise tax, also known as the tourist tax, is assessed on gross receipts of hotels and motels at the rate of 1% and on car rentals on the rate of 2%. This is on accommodations and car rentals of less than 30 days in duration. In 2019, the Treasurer's Office collected approximately $11.6 million in stadium excise taxes. These tax collections are used to pay the debt service of the Stadia complex, that's Comerica Park and Ford Field, and for administration costs related to collecting the excise tax. There were sufficient tax revenues in 2019 to make the debt service payments. In September 2012, there was a refunding of the Stadium Authority issued Series 2012 refunding Stadium Authority revenue bonds, which are payable through 2026. And these refunded the 1997 bonds, which were dated March 1 of 97. This advanced refunding will reduce the authority's total debt service by approximately $8.2 million over the next 15 years. The tax collections are recorded in a special revenue fund. After administration and debt service costs, the excess collections can be used to fund other land development projects in Wayne County.
Can I stop you for a quick second, Mike? The stadium excise tax collection in excess of debt service, where does that go and what's it used for? Can you turn your mic on so we can hear you?
It's used to fund land development projects. That would be a response from either Wayne County or the Treasurer's Office. We're actually, I believe the Treasurer's Office transfers funds and the Wayne County executive would use those funds for land development projects. Somebody from the administration may be able to provide some information, or else we can provide the information back to you after we receive it from the executive's office.
And maybe somebody from the Treasurer's Office could chime in on this also if they're interested. Okay, all right, well, thank you.
We'll
Please.
get the information for you.
Please proceed, Mike.
The treasurer has the authority to assess and enforce interest and penalties on any unpaid tourist taxes due from any entity. The foreign treasurer had some concerns with enforcing the tourist tax laws. due to the fact you could not obtain sales tax data on taxpayers from the state of Michigan. However, our office was able to do that, obtain the data from the state of Michigan. So therefore, we entered this memorandum of understanding with the treasurer to perform the audit. We've annually conducted this agreed upon procedures over compliance with the excise tax for 5 years now, ending in year 2019. And the treasurer pays our office $40,000 a year to conduct this engagement. I will now turn this over to Erica.
Okay, and before you do, you pay the treasurer's office, or they pay you $40,000 to do the audit? What amount of money is received from this audit, roughly?
As we go through the presentation, we'll show you the effect of our audit, but we did an analysis over the 5-year period. And from 8 businesses that originally were not registered, we were able to determine they remitted a total of about $297,000 based on our agreement.
It sounds like there's a benefit to doing this, but thank you. Thank you. Please proceed.
As our first agreed upon procedure under the MOU was to identify unregistered taxpayers that are responsible for but not remitting the stadium excise tax. We identified 8 unregistered hotels, motels, and car rental agencies that were operating a business in the county and not remitting the excise tax during 2019. 5 of these taxpayers were hotels, motels, and 3 were car rental agency. We also noted that 7 of these were repeats from prior years. Our results is that we estimated the entity's opening dates based upon the State of Michigan Department of Licensing and Regulatory Affairs website. This information was provided to the treasurer's office. We also provided all unregistered taxpayers registration forms for the SET tax by mail and or email. And then we provided the contact information for the unregistered taxpayers to the treasurer's office for future follow-up. And then a part of our second procedure, we sought to compare gross receipts from the SET returns that were remitted to the treasurer to the receipts reported by the taxpayers on their respective state of Michigan annual use and withholding returns, and noted discrepancies between the amounts reported. Our results were that we requested copies of the SUW returns from the state of Michigan for all taxpayers remitting the excise tax to the treasurer for calendar year 2019, except for bed and breakfast establishments and car rental agencies that were listed under the same federal employee identification number. Our results was that there were 25 unregistered taxpayers that were selected in 2019, which we could not determine a reasonable explanation for the discrepancies between the SET payment and the taxpayer's return. We requested financial information from all 25 registered taxpayers. However, several entities did not respond. This year, we received information from 20 taxpayers consisting of 14 hotels and motels and 6 car rental agencies. Of the remaining 5 taxpayers that we did not receive information for, 4 taxpayers did not respond at all, and 1 taxpayer provided only an acknowledgement. However, we were unable to obtain the requested documentation from all 5 of these taxpayers upon request.
Okay, let me stop you there. What's like the next step with the taxpayers that have actually underpaid? What do we do if they don't pay what they're supposed to pay? Maybe if the treasurer's office wants to chime in, or Ms. Cora.
If I could just interject, that is probably the results of our objective number 3. We're going on to the next slide. What we did when we compared the tax returns.
Thank you.
Agreed upon procedure number 3. Conduct desk examinations of selected county taxpayers' financial records for comparison to amounts reported on their SET returns for accuracy. The results were as follows. Of the 20 taxpayers selected in procedure number 2, we determined for calendar year 2019, 6 taxpayers had over or underpayments over the 1-year period. 4 had overpayments, and 2 taxpayers had underpayments and were not in compliance with tourist tax laws. Excuse me. The remaining 14 taxpayers were determined to be in compliance without any noted over or underpayments. In agreed upon procedure number 4, we're looking to calculate any deficiencies in payment of tax, as well as penalties and interest on the deficiency for non-compliant taxpayers identified in procedure number 3. We calculated penalties conservatively at $10 or 10% due to the fact that based on procedures performed, we found no indication of intentional disregard or fraudulent intent. We calculated interest on delinquent taxes and penalties based on interest rates provided in Revenue Administrative Bulletin 2019-18. We determined that approximately $611 in tourist taxes, interest, and penalties could be owed to the Treasurer's Office for the period of January 2019 through December 2019. In conclusion, based on the agreed upon procedures performed, we determined for the 20 registered taxpayers that responded to our request, we found that 90% complied with stadium excise tax laws, and approximately $611 of tourist taxes, penalties, and interest could be owed to the Treasurer's Office for underpayments in 2019. On behalf of the OAG, we would like to thank the officials in the Wayne County Treasurer's Office for their cooperation during this engagement. Questions, comments?
Ms. Cora?
Hey, Dan, I think what's important is we've been doing this engagement for many years now. I think what's important to understand is that when hotels, motels, and car rental agencies know that somebody is out there looking, coming back to determine whether they're paying, they're more apt to pay. And I think that has helped to increase the number of establishments that are paying their taxes. And also too, I think there's the 8 unregistered hotel, motels, and car rental agencies that haven't been remitting their taxes. I think there needs to be a determination of what can take place. It could be maybe working with Corporation Counsel, Treasurer's Office to see who has any type of enforcement that could require these establishments to pay their tourist taxes. There's got to be a way for the enforcement piece, and I think that's what needs to be explored.
Just, I know, I don't want to catch her by surprise, but if our commission counsel would like to chime in on this for a quick second, appreciate it.
Through the chair to this honorable body, my office will look at the statute to see what remedies, if anything, is actually set forth in the statute. Unfortunately, I'm not familiar enough right now to provide an answer, but I will get back to the auditor in this committee.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Ms. Cora, please proceed.
That's the end of my presentation.
Okay, and then comments or questions or whatever from the Treasurer's Office? Well, we appreciate the Treasurer's Office working with us, and please give that to the Treasurer. Any comments or questions from commissioners that we want to say at this meeting? Okay, nothing. Next item, Madam Clerk.
We need a motion.
Okay, it's been moved by Commissioner Kniezek. Can I get support? Now, the support was that from Melissa Dobb or? Oh, from Irma Clark Coleman. Oh, supported from Irma Clark Coleman? Okay, all those in favor? All those opposed? Ayes have it. Next item, Madam Clerk.
F, such other matters as may be properly submitted before the committee.
There are none.
Public comments.
Can we unmute the mics? Is there anybody from the public that'd like to make a comment? Is there anybody from the public that would like to make a comment? Third and final time. Mr. Abbo, anybody from the public like to make a comment? Nobody? Okay, next item, Madam Clerk.
Adjournment.
It's been moved. Can I get support? Moved and supported. All those in favor?